We're on air.
Okay. Okay, we are in session. We are on air, and I'm going to ask for silence in the galley, if you will. And with that, we're going to move right on with our schedule of items here. First on the agenda is approval of the minutes of February the 3rd. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
John, he's got 2 signs out.
Mr. Porter, you're being disruptive. I'm going to ask you to remove one sign or please leave this.
Show me in the rules of decorum where it says only one sign, sir, and I'll follow it. It doesn't.
I'm not going to argue with Mr. Porter.
No, you're
I'm
making up rules.
I'm the presiding officer. You're being disruptive to this meeting. I'm going to ask you to either remove one of the signs or you can leave.
How am I disrupting the meeting, sir? Is it because the signs say that bar sucks or the one that says bar is gay? Which one is it that you don't like, sir? May it please the crowd.
Okay. Mr. Porter, I'm not going to argue with you.
You are. You're arguing right now. You're doing it right now.
You're being disruptive to this meeting. I'm going to ask the deputy to have you removed.
I'm sorry, what? For what reason? He talked to me and I talked back to him. Are you asking me to leave? Are you giving me a lawful order to leave an open public meeting because I have 2 signs, sir?
Recess.
No, I've been asked by one.
Recess.
Because he didn't like the sign. You're ordering me off the property because I have 2 signs. I must go. Will I be arrested if I
John,
don't leave the meeting?
recess.
Unbelievable. Free speech is under attack in Washington County, and you're leading the charge, General John Barr. Nothing?
Okay, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take another recess. I'm going to call for a recess till this disruption to our meeting is taken care of. Thank you for your patience. And with that, we'll move right into Commissioner's reports and comments. And Commissioner Wagner, you want to go first?
Sure. Good morning. Welcome, everyone. I don't have a whole lot this morning to take up any more time. That we seem to have escaped the mighty blizzard, at least most of Washington County did. I think some got more than others, but I'll just start off by thanking our staff who worked and especially our road crews and everybody that had first responders who still had to deal with some some conditions that weren't ideal in certain parts of the county. So thank you all for that. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Leatherman?
Thank you, John. Just a couple comments. Friday, February 13th, the Clear Spring Country Diner reopened. They were closed for a while, had a fire. Wonderful facility, great food. Check it out. We had a wonderful time up there. There's a group of gentlemen out of the west end of Hagerstown who apparently that is their place to go to. And so they were very welcome that it is reopened. But great family, great facility. Clear Spring Country Diner, I would encourage you to make it a destination for you. Second item, on Sunday, February 15th, my wife and I were able to attend the Maryland Symphony Orchestra at the Maryland Theater. What a wonderful opportunity for each one of us to go to the Maryland Theater and attend the Maryland Symphony. We're very fortunate to have them here. We need to support them in any way that we can, and we will. And I would encourage you to also participate in these presentations that they have, and the many that are held at the Maryland Symphony, by the Maryland Symphony at the Maryland Theater. And finally, I was contacted by a resident of Halfway, and he wanted me to extend his thanks. He's going to remain unnamed. I'm sure he's watching. And on January 28th, 2026, he was at home in Halfway and had a massive heart attack, his description. Company 26, medic unit from Company 26, and an engine from 26 responded to his home. And the good news is that the gentleman survived. Not only did he survive, he was actually at HCC on Sunday. And so he is doing very well. So he wanted to extend his extreme thank you to Company 26 and their delivery of services to him. So on behalf of that gentleman, congratulations and best wishes. That's all I've got, John.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Klein?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I attended the Fire Association meeting last week, and they also made recognition of some of our fire police volunteers who some have 50, 30, and 25 years of service. And what's so important about the fire police, they're the ones that are protecting the people who are protecting us at fire and accident scenes. So thank you to our fire police, and thank you for the association for recognizing them as well. I also attended Washington County first responders training exercise at Blair's Valley Lake. It was ice training, how they could go in and capture or rescue someone who may be falling through the ice. Is good that they're always training, folks. They're always there when you need them. I too made it up to the Clear Spring Country Diner later in the afternoon. They served breakfast all day. One of my things I like the most. But congratulations for them on their grand opening. Another small business in Washington County being successful. I also attended the Washington County Parks and Rec annual volleyball championship game. I was there for the elementary division champions. The Turtles won. But I want to thank our rec department and all the coaches and parents and the players who participate in that league. It's gained recognition all around the county as our feeder program for all the state championship high school teams that we have. I believe it was 2 years ago, 3 of the coaches, volunteer coaches, played on state championship teams at our local high schools and came back and volunteering being coaches. So kudos to that program. I also attended Smithsburg annual awards banquet. They presented the county commissioners a certificate expressing their support that we do every year for them, not just monetarily, but training, hose testing, ladder testing, uniforms, insurance, the list goes on, and they expressed they're very grateful for our support. Later that evening, I also attended the Long Meadow Volunteer Fire Company banquet. They too made an emphasis on thanking Washington County government for our support. And it's good to hear that because we do help our volunteers in the millions of dollars over the years. And to be recognized for that is just a little bit of satisfaction knowing that they understand that we're a partner with our volunteer system, not just a fundraiser. We're a partner. So with that being said, that concludes my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Klein. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here. A couple of things. One is pretty much every Wednesday while the General Assembly is in session, I'm either in Annapolis or zooming into Maryland Association of Counties, review of many bills that are before our state legislators, and MACO, Maryland Association of County, weighs in on quite a few of the bills with support and or opposition to those bills. Also, to add to last Wednesday's agenda, and a very, very busy day, was the Education Foundation of Washington County Public Schools. Proudly honors annually the ESP, the Essential Service Personnel of the county. And they had 4 individuals that made the finalist list, and it was a very nice evening. And I just want to say thank you to Dr. Savine and the administrative staff and all the services and the board of school board that were there. It was a very, very nice evening, very honoring, and congratulations to the finalists. Also, Wednesday evening, right next door at the Barbara Emmer School, I had the opportunity to hop back and forth. And as a matter of fact, I jokingly said which one's got the better food because they were less than 100 feet apart. But Barbara Ingram had a major event that evening, and I tell you, it's amazing. It's just absolutely amazing what the students, the talent, and what goes on there at that magnet school. We are just so overwhelmingly blessed in this community to have the Barbara Ingram School, and the talent of those students is just remarkable. So hats off to them. It was quite a nice evening, and thanks to the school board and the administrative staff for the the great opportunities that our students have in Washington County. With that, have I missed anything? I'll go right into staff comments, and we have Michelle Gordon, our county administrator.
Thank you. I have one change to the agenda. I need to remove number 9, which is filter replacement change order for Smithsburg wastewater treatment plant ENR upgrades. That will be brought back at a later date. I'd also like to thank our public safety employees, our highways department, for the work that they did this weekend to combat the winter storm. As Commissioner Wagner mentioned, there were certain parts of the county that were hit harder than others. I attended the District 2 evening meeting in Annapolis with our county delegation. I also attended the county delegation meeting regarding our pending legislative issues. I also attended the girls volleyball championship games. I'd like to congratulate the winners along with all who participated this volleyball season. Special thank you to Jamie Dix and our Parks and Rec staff for making these youth programs available for our community. I have 2 OMA opinions that I'd like to read. The first, 20-73 for 2026, dated February the 19th of 2026. The complainant alleged that the Board of County Commissioners violated the Open Meetings Act by convening in secret to do a record search. Here the complainant references a September 25 opinion and alleges once more the county board convened a secret meeting that may very well have occurred on February the 13th of 2025. He points to the opinion from regarding the February 13th prior complaint, which he quotes the county attorney as saying that he discussed a PIA request with the county board, likely in multiple discussions across multiple meetings and closed sessions that likely occurred in late February or early March. The complainant alleges once more that the county board met in secret and asserts that it is very possible that it was the same secret meeting on February the 13th, 2025 that he has complained of previously. We declined to address the complainant's allegations. A complainant must still present well-supported allegations. Here, by contrast, the complainant alleges no specific facts to support his assertion of a secret meeting other than a statement by the county attorney that the board convened and closed in February and March. The board has already publicly disclosed that it met several times in closed session in February and March, which allows public bodies to exclude the public from certain discussions. The complainant merely assumes, based on the county attorney's reference to closed sessions, that the attorney must have been describing previously undisclosed closed sessions, and thus the county board must have violated the act by meeting in secret. But that is speculation, and we ordinarily do not address hypothetical or speculative allegations such as these. We decline to consider the allegation here. The second is 20-071 for 2026, February the 19th of 2026. The complainant alleges that the Board of County Commissioners violated the Open Meetings Act when it canceled a hearing with no notice or warning whatsoever. The complainant alleges that the lack of notice of canceling the public hearing violated the act. We disagree. The act requires a public body to provide notice when the body cancels a meeting, but the Commission did not cancel the December 9th meeting. It merely removed one item, which was the public hearing, from the meeting agenda. The act does not prevent a public body from altering the agenda of a meeting after the agenda has been made available to the public. We find no violation of the act. And lastly, just wanted to reinforce some of the statements that the Board of County Commissioners have made previously. We understand that the community is concerned. Washington County was not involved in the site selection process regarding the new facility that will be opened in Williamsport. We were not consulted by the federal government or the private entity involved in the sales transaction of an existing structure. This is now a property owned by the federal government. As such, Washington County government has no jurisdiction, and we are not the governing body that will be overseeing this project.
I'm going to, one more comment, and I'm going to ask you to leave. Sir, this is, you're out of order.
Out of order.
Deputy, we're going to have him removed. Sir, as the presiding officer, I'm asking you to leave.
I hear you. I can hear you. You have a microphone. But you're not answering.
I'm not.
We presented you the list of questions, 200 people.
This is not an interactive session.
There's no, ladies and gentlemen, there's no clapping. This is not a public forum.
Many of the suggestions being made by non-county residents as well as county residents include comparisons to a facility in Howard County. Two recent actions taken by the government in Howard County. Those are not a fair comparison. The example from Howard County involved a building owned by a private company, which is not the case here in Washington County, where the building is owned by the federal government. The suggestions being made would require a legal opinion and interpretation of the potential liability of all parties involved, both for the county and personally for individuals taking potentially adverse actions against another organization. Additionally, a legal opinion and interpretation would be needed regarding the hierarchy and interactions between local, state, and federal government authority and jurisdiction, all of which we are not able to comment on at this time. A resolution was adopted by the Board of County Commissioners on February the 10th of 2026, and this resolution expresses general support for the Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and local law enforcement agencies in their roles related to public safety, and encourages cooperation across all levels of government. Washington County has not been provided with any project information from the federal government for their property on Wright Road, and Washington County is not going to speculate on future use or development of the site. Beyond the statement released on January the 28th of 2026 and the resolution approved on February the 10th of 2026, Washington County government has no additional information. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. First item up is under tab 1, hotel rental tax funding for Washington County Ag Expo.
Staff is requesting a motion to approve a contract awarding hotel rental tax funding for the Washington County Ag Expo and Fair in an amount not to exceed $5,000 annually for 10 years, which would be for July of 2026 through July of 2035, and in an amount not to exceed $10,000 annually for an additional 10 years, or from July 2036 to July of 2045, in recognition of the contributions made to the Washington County Agricultural Education Center by Adna Ad Fulton in support of the agricultural community. Staff is proposing that the board consider the approval of hotel rental tax funding for the continuation of the Washington County Ag Expo and Fair in recognition of Ad Fulton's lifetime commitment to and contributions to the Ag Center and the ag community by giving back to residents here in Washington County. Ad's impact on the ag community and Washington County residents during his lifetime has been significant. His charitable efforts have been used to promote community well-being and to construct new facilities at the Ag Center, providing opportunities, education, and support to residents in Washington County. The Board of County Commissioners is equally as committed to the agricultural community in Washington County, and staff proposes that this funding commitment be made to honor and celebrate the excellence of Ad Fulton. This commitment will recognize an individual who has had a profound impact on the ag community in Washington County. Fiscal impact over the maximum amount over 20 years would be about $150,000. I'll open it up to any questions or potential motions.
Well, I don't have any questions. I want to make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion is second for approval. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
4-0. I publicly want to thank Commissioner Klein, too, for your effort to help push this forward. We met at the annual Ag Expo dinner back in, I guess, November, and we realized how important the Ag Expo is every summer, particularly for the youth of this community, and this is quite an honor.
And we have the Ag Expo President Chairman here. Would you introduce yourself?
I'm Joe Brock, President of Ag
Okay, thank you. This is something that's been talked about all the years through the committees and stuff. We thought this was a great time to honor and to recognize the youth there at the Ag Expo. So thank you all very much.
Would we like to get a picture?
Absolutely, we need pictures. It's a historic day. The flags, or we do it up front?
Whoever they want to bring in the picture is fine. Whoever they want to bring in is fine.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
On behalf of Ad, the family, and certainly the ag community, we've worked on this for a long time because this park was given to agriculture by the University of Maryland for $1 years ago. And over the years, many farmers have worked hard to get the facility to where it is. And I'm happy to say that my husband has been one of its biggest proponents. that could be one reason we got together, our love of agriculture. But Ed has tried and tried to make sure that the ag fair is there and that they have what they need. So the last building that they built will allow the kids to come and not have any tents. They will all be under roof and will all have a barn to exhibit in this coming year. So we want to thank the commissioners for honoring ag and allowing the ag community to have 1 week a year that we can showcase what we do here and to honor our kids especially and encourage them to continue in agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Good speech.
Brad.
One of Ad's sons is here. Brad.
Okay. Next item is under tab 2, FY26 budget adjustments to the Washington County Board of Education's general fund budget. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Commissioners. Jeff Brew, Chief Operating Officer of Washington County Public Schools.
Eric Sisler, Executive Director of Finance for Washington County Public Schools.
The matter before you this morning is budget adjustments for FY26, the current fiscal year. As I remind you every time we come forward, the Annotated Code of Maryland requires local school systems to periodically reforecast financial needs and make necessary adjustments to their budgets. To that end, the Washington County Board of Education approved the attached list of changes to its FY26 general fund budget at its February 17th, 2026 meeting. These adjustments do cross major categorical categories, and Mr. Sisler and I are happy to answer any questions you may have.
A motion to approve.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. Any comments, questions?
Yeah, I have a comment. I see Dr. Savine in the audience. Thank you for your service to Washington County.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor, ready to vote. All in favor by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Savine. Next item is under tab 3, presentation and discussion of the Board of Education's draft FY 2027 general fund budget for Washington County Public Schools.
Morning, Commissioners. Ms. Gordon, thank you for having us today. I'm going to actually turn it over to Dr. Savine. We just approved his draft budget as the board's draft budget. So going to let him go and explain a little bit of it, and happy to answer any questions you guys may have.
Thank you, President Evans. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
President Barr, Vice President Fine, Ms. Gordon. I greatly appreciate the partnership that exists between the Board of Commissioners and our Board of Education. Thank you for that. I also want to thank you for the funding that you provide WCPS. I'm prepared to share now our Board of Education's FY27 General Fund Draft Budget. I'm joined here, both sides, board leadership, President Evans, Vice President Zentmeyer, also our Deputy Superintendent, Dr. Gary Willow is here, along with Jeff Prue, our Chief Operating Officer, and finance team members, Mr. Sisler and Mr. Shives. So fortunate to be supported by a strong board and just exceptional team members. I first want to share that we're very thankful as a school system superintendent board that will be recognized that will likely be receiving around $14 million more in additional funds that combines state and significant local effort. Also, before I present, I think there's value in referencing that, that our student needs certainly continue to grow. And they are growing both academically, socially, behaviorally, and emotionally. And even with the additional revenue, our expenses exceed our funding. And as a result, we're facing a deficit. And in this proposal, it includes difficult decisions and cuts so that we're prioritizing our student needs. A significant portion of this budget remains dedicated to special education services, which I will highlight here shortly. These investments give our special education students the support they need, which in turn provides a more positive learning environment for all students. We're also managing substantial increases in employee benefits. This includes over $6 million of combined health insurance pension costs. So do the quick math, that $14 million of additional revenues, that's nearly half of that. These are costs that are largely outside of our control, but they're essential to retaining the staff who serve our students each and every day. This proposed budget represents our best effort to remain fiscally responsible while continuing to prioritize students, staff, and the greater Washington County community. As we move to this next slide, you'll see here that when it comes to revenue from the school system, the revenue is driven by student enrollment. And as you look at this slide, you can see that in comparison to last year, we had a decline in student enrollment by 71 students. I just want to give you some perspective. Most districts, nearly all, were down in the state of Maryland. While we have a decrease, it was minimal compared to most districts. Also want to mention that the compensatory education enrollment decreased, as you see here, by 306 students. The significance of that is this means that WCPS will receive less state and federal funding tied to programs that support students that are living in poverty. I think it's worth noting that those student needs still remain real, and we remain committed to supporting those students. Also, our multilingual students continue to increase. You can see 11 students from last year to this year in that area. I'll just mention over the last 4 years, we've had exponential growth with our multilingual students, nearly doubling what we had when I first came in my first year as superintendent. And finally, our special education enrollment increased by 85 students. And I want to take a moment to emphasize that this is not a one-year thing. This is a multi-year thing. Now we're consecutive years with special ed student growth. I also want to reference, while this 85 additional special ed students is significant, the number itself does not capture the impact. We're seeing students with some very complex needs that are really stretching our ability, but I want to commend our staff and this board for supporting and making all of our students, in particular our special education students, a priority. And you'll see in the next couple of slides our investment in addressing those needs. As we move to the next slide, I just want to spend a moment reviewing the county's contribution to the school system's budget, which is quite significant, and we express our appreciation for that. We recognize that the county share is above maintenance of effort now that we follow the blueprint formula. And just as an educational moment, just want to reference that the blueprint formula is largely based on the state's calculation of local wealth. Washington County's wealth per pupil is increasing faster than the state average, which means the county is expected to fund a greater share of the education costs. So we recognize that this creates a greater lift for the county commissioners. Also, in short, our wealth equalization under the blueprint shifts more responsibility to the county rather than increasing overall funding to WCPS. However, as a point of emphasis, and this is a good thing, you see the slide regarding guaranteed tax grant. That is increasing by a little over $1 million. That reduces the county's expected allocation. So just as a point of emphasis, the guaranteed tax-based grant increase is a friend to our funding body. Also want to be clear that again this year, this budget does not include funding requests of the commissioners above what is required by law. We recognize the level of support, and we're grateful for the support that we receive from the Board of Commissioners. As we move to the next slide, as is the case in any annual budget, we have captured some interest income, and also we capture tuition from families and students that do not reside in our county, coming from outside the county and other states. This is primarily the Barbara Ingram School for the Arts. Another point of emphasis as we move to the next slide, there are still factors that will influence this budget, and I want to reference a couple things that I'm certain that as a Board of Commissioners you're aware of. But this board's, the Board of Education's draft budget assumes that the state is going to hold school systems harmless of compensatory education funding as currently proposed by the governor. And I'll just reference that the governor has used the previous formula that benefits. We are actually receiving more dollars, several $1 million, because he has chosen in his proposal to utilize the old Comp Ed formula. However, as we go through this process, if the legislature should choose to use the new formula, I just want to mention, as our board is aware, that could reduce our funding by several $1 million. So we would have to make additional cuts that I'm going to share with you there. Also want to understand and provide clarity that in the governor's proposed budget, there was a potential shift of the pension cost to local governments. While this does not impact the school system, we recognize it does impact the Board of Commissioners to the level of nearly $1 million, $900,000 that's proposed to be shifted to local government. That's another reason why this board, the superintendent, is not requesting any additional dollars beyond what's required by law, because we recognize additional pressure is being placed on local government. As we move to the next slide, you see the next 4 slides quickly are reviewing the board's priorities, and this looks at our expenditures and listed here. You see the alignment, the first priority of culture, safety, and wellness. Many of these investments reflect the growing and increasingly complex needs of our students and our schools. This school year, we added special education paraprofessionals to better support student needs with significant complex needs and to maintain a safe learning environment. I'll speak more about this transition in the next slide, but this is a direct response to the level of support that is needed in our classrooms, and we want to continue that level of support. We also continue to value just strengthening our leadership in our schools, especially our elementary schools. In this proposed budget, we have funding that would allow for assistant principals at schools that only have a principal. Those schools are Boonesboro Elementary, Clear Spring Elementary, Emma K. Dowd, Potomac Heights, and Sharpsburg Elementary Schools. These assistant principals will provide day-to-day instructional support, but perhaps most importantly, will also provide much-needed behavioral supports to maintain order in the classrooms. Rising utility costs are another area impacting this budget. Just like families and community members, as a district, we are experiencing higher utility bills. The school system, as I mentioned, there are a lot of similar pressures that many of our families are facing. But last year, we transitioned to a long-term energy contract to another at a significantly higher rate. I want to take a moment to thank our facilities team for their focus on energy savings. But despite significant savings in energy, we were down, and I want to emphasize this, we were down 5 million kilowatt hours. 5 million kilowatt hours. President Barr, I know you know the significance of that. Even with that effort, our electricity costs increased by approximately $900,000, nearly $1 million. It's certainly important to the superintendent and this board to address the salary resource pool. And I'll be honest with you, I was hoping, and this board was hoping to do a little bit better, but recognizing the needs of our students and putting them first, this budget proposal includes a $2 million for a salary pool. That equates to a 1% cost of living increase and not a step. Once again, our student needs are really pressing, and this budget prioritizes those student needs. Certainly extremely difficult, but we do value our employees as well, so this is an effort to provide at least a modest cost of living increase. This next slide, student success, we'll go back to the, yes, thank you. Student success, we'll just highlight a little bit more. This priority, we propose adding 7 new special education program classrooms next year. So those 7 new programs will allow us to serve an additional 70 to 90 special education students. These classrooms provide specialized instruction supporting required needs of these students whose needs simply cannot be met in a traditional classroom setting. We're also directing a portion of the pre-K funding toward our early special education students, recognizing that some of our youngest learners, our 4-year-olds and our 5-year-olds, are coming to us with some significant behavioral challenges. So we're devoting our paras and staff to provide the appropriate support early on so that we can reap the benefits long-term of those items. We also continue to fund teaching positions for our multilingual students. That's a part of the blueprint here, and you can see the middle school alternative education teachers. There are 4 additional teachers as some of our students that have behavioral challenges and cannot be served in a traditional setting. Our alternative school will provide that level of support, so we're enhancing the number of teachers there because of demand and need in terms of our student needs. The last item, you see that we have a home and hospital coordinator That is currently in a grant that will end at the end of this fiscal year. The reality is we have a number of students that have mental health and other health-related concerns that do not allow them to attend in person on a regular basis. So this is a need that we do not see going away, and we are including this in the general fund budget. The next slide, and we're almost there. You can see access and opportunity. You may recall last year with our replacement bus cycle, we diverted dollars away from that line item to address more pressing needs. This is an effort to begin to restore that. Still not close to where it should be. It should be probably a little over $1 million, but we wanted to prioritize incrementally to give you some basis here. School bus replacement, a standard bus now is, it costs us $160,000. Also, as we provide increases to our bus drivers, we also have contracted services. So you can see here that 2 additional buses and 2 vans, along with compensating our bus drivers, we're just south of $600,000 in this proposed budget. The next item or priority is contracted services. This is a smaller figure, $30,000. This is the cost of online business to provide staff and administration of an annual district engagement survey where we receive feedback from our parents, from our students, and community members so that we can use that to inform our decision making. The next item here is, I mentioned, while we're getting additional dollars, also we had to prioritize and make some significant reductions. So if we'll move to the next slide and we'll highlight those reductions. I'll just reference that in our current fiscal year, this time last year, I recommended and the board approved, it was a $400,000 cut in administration, specifically from CES or our central office. This year, there's a recommendation with this proposed budget for additional cuts, a little over $600,000, once again, in central office CES. So within 2 years, over $1 million of cuts in administration and staff at the central office. So once again, trying to do our part so that we can prioritize and address the greatest needs of our students. The next item that I'll just mention is on an annual basis, I, along with our finance team and our department leaders and principals, early in the year in October, we do a review of all budgets to try to capture efficiencies. With that, we capture turnover credit. You can see through that process early this year, we've captured $2 million in budget adjustments and savings. President Barr, members of the Board of Commissioners, that concludes our budget presentation. Our board members and staff remain available to answer any questions. I just want to conclude by saying thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your support, not only our public schools, but our greater community.
Thank you. Questions, comments?
I actually do have one question.
The number of special education students, this year, did I hear you say 85?
Yes, sir.
And you're anticipating 70 in the coming year? Did I hear that?
The real numbers this year is 85. We're anticipating growth for next year. It's an estimate, but we've been trending about 80-plus students for the last couple of years. And
any speculation why?
It's hard to say with certainty.
Okay.
I would tend to credit the high quality of services and the talented special educators, our paras and our teachers that exist here in Washington County.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you. Again, thank you. Thank you for your support. And appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item under tab 4 is the presentation of the 2027 to 2036 capital budget, draft number 1.
Good morning, Commissioners. Zane Garrett, Deputy Director of Budget and Finance. Kelsey was unable to make it this morning. She is sick, so I'll be presenting without her this morning. Let me see, where'd the clicker go?
Right there.
All right, so what we have presented this morning is the draft 1 of the FY27 capital budget. So the 10-year capital plan is developed each year. It includes scheduling and financing of future community facilities such as public buildings, roads, bridges, parks, water and sewer projects, and educational facilities. The plan is flexible and can be adjusted by a majority vote of the Commission. The plan covers 10 years, with the first year being the capital improvement budget for FY27. Funding for each project is allocated from federal, state, and local sources. A primary purpose of the capital improvement program is to provide a means for coordinating and consolidating all the departmental and agency requests into one document. As part of the CIP process, capital project requests were submitted in December of 2025. Projects have been reviewed by the CIP committee. Project costs that were submitted for FY27 exceeded our available funding sources by approximately $5.2 million from what was in the FY26 approved plan for the FY27 year. Development of the 10-year plan includes consideration of current and future needs, available funding sources, and results of the CIP committee ranking process. The CIP committee determines which capital projects best meet established criteria for the current fiscal year, capital improvement budget, and the 9-year forecast. Members of the CIP committee include the county administrator, the chief financial officer, director of engineering, director of public works, and the director of planning and zoning. On this slide, you'll see the first draft of the FY27 CIP budget is balanced and totals $104 million. Now this is balanced pending general fund being balanced, which is the next item on the agenda, and we'll bring back and be presented in a couple of weeks. On the screen, you can see the breakdown of cost across categories. Education makes up the largest category and includes projects for Board of Ed, HEC, and public libraries. The next slide here compares the final budget for FY26 amount, the projected budget for FY27 per last year's plan, and the current proposed amount for FY27. The FY27 proposed budget is a $7.8 million decrease from the FY26 approved budget and a $5.1 million decrease from the projected FY27 amount in the FY26 10-year plan. These increases or decreases are a combination of completed projects falling off the plan, additional funds needed to complete current projects, and new projects that were not part of the FY26 capital plan. The next slide is the same comparison, but shows broken down by category, which category has increased or decreased. As you can see, the larger increases are in education and public safety, while the larger decreases were related to projects for the airport and transit system. The proposed 10-year plan totals $1.4 billion. This represents an increase of $541.2 million, or a 61.4% increase from the FY26 approved 10-year plan, which was $881 million. The primary driver of this increase is the proposed water infrastructure development project, which we'll discuss in more detail in a minute. Without the water infrastructure development project, the 10-year capital plan is $875.9 million, which is $5.5 million less than the FY26 approved 10-year plan. This slide shows where increases or decreases in the 10-year total for the current draft plan compared to the FY26 final 10-year plan. With the exception of the water infrastructure project, our largest capital expense is education. This slide shows the breakdown of the funding sources proposed to fund projects. 56% of the funding is from local sources of $58.4 million. Other funding sources total $45.6 million from federal, state grants, as well as contributions from other agencies or entities. All potential funding sources are considered when developing the capital plan. Some projects are funded with project-specific revenues or restricted revenues, such as speed camera and federal and state grant funding. Funding sources in the capital plan are budgeted in each fiscal year in which they'll be received. Local funding sources total $58.4 million for FY27. Taxes and fees include $4.2 million in transfer and excise tax revenues based on recent property sales trends. The impact from changes in the excise tax ordinance effective July 1, 2026 were also considered. These funds are typically restricted for specific purposes, and excess revenues will be dedicated to future projects based on the revenue restrictions. The plan includes $16.3 million in transfers from the general fund with gradual increases over the 10-year plan. It is important that we build up our general fund transfer each year to keep up with our capital needs that cannot be funded with other revenue sources. $250,000 in speed camera revenue is dedicated to projects related to the Sheriff's Office. $14 million in tax-supported bonds and $6.2 million in self-supported bonds are in the FY27 budget as well. Bonds provide an important resource to fund large construction projects without large revenue increase requirements. CIP reserves include unspent transfers from the general fund as well as unspent dedicated APFO transfer and excise tax revenue. Draft 1 includes the spend down of about $41 million in CIP reserves spread out over the first 4 years of this plan. FY27 includes, so of that $41 million, FY27 includes $7.2 million from general CIP reserves and $4.4 million from restricted reserves for a total of $11.6 million from CIP reserves in the FY27 funding year. Other internal funds that provide capital funding to various projects include the Highway Fund, Airport, Water Quality, and Solid Waste funds. The next slide here shows where local funds are being spent and how they compare to the FY26 budget. The use of local funds in FY27 increased by $3.4 million over the FY26 approved budget and $7.9 million over the amount projected for FY27 in the FY26 plan. The next slide shows where local funds are being spent over the 10-year plan and how they compare to the FY26 CIP plan. The use of local funds increased by $550.8 million over the FY26 plan due to the water infrastructure development project. Outside of the water project, local funds increased by $30.5 million over the 10-year plan. This slide highlights a few of the major projects that are in the 10-year plan. The Downsville Pike Elementary project, which we're all aware is currently underway. The Jonathan Hager addition, which will add approximately 394 seats. Elementary School 2 and 3, which assume a smaller than requested replacement elementary school that the Board of Ed had originally requested. So we are assuming likely a 2 or 3 round replacement school instead of I think a 4 round school. So this assumes a larger common areas for a future addition should enrollment projections justify that. The next project is the second entrance widening project, which relocates Scholar Drive behind the ARCC building at HCC. The admin and student affairs building renovation. Construction was just awarded for that project, so that'll be underway here. The ARCC renovation, which is in the out years of the plan. Circuit Courthouse. The P25 UHF radio communication system will replace approximately 100 fixed-base radios at the county's 10 radio sites. So this should be, it seems like it's been an ongoing project for quite some time, and that's because it has been. This should be the last component that is being replaced that's from 2006. So, you know, given a 20 to 25 year lifespan for the radios and all the equipment inside the towers, we're probably looking at another significant replacement, you know, 20, 25 years from now. So we're gonna try to work that into the plan so we can prepare for that in the future. The Public Safety Training Center is also on the list as a major project with future phases, design starting on those in the next year or two. The Apparatus Reserve Fleet, it's a project where we added funding for an additional 1 ambulance and 1 fire truck. The 911 Center equipment replacement is a project to replace Motorola equipment in relation to the 911 Center being relocated to the 540 Western Maryland Parkway building. And then the other major project here, there's the Transit 1000 West Washington Street expansion project, which is under design, and the Water Infrastructure Development Project. As the timelines and phases for the Water Infrastructure Development Project become clearer, we hope to have further discussions on funding sources and kind of the timeline for the project. I did want to make a note on this that on this slide that the project total column includes only project costs that have been funded previously or are funded within this 10-year budget. And I say that because the admin and student affairs building renovation has a total project cost of $2.8 million on the slide, the first column there. And which that is true given the 10-year plan. The ASA renovation project is a $59 million project. However, due to funding constraints, it's currently been pushed kind of just beyond that 10-year plan primarily. So it's not really a $2.8 million project. It's a $59 million project at this time. The next slide shows our debt capacity and affordability analysis, which is performed each year and provides a method by which the county's debt position can be evaluated, tested for stress and affordability, and compared with other jurisdictions. The analysis provides the county commissioners and citizens with a way to assess the impact of the bond issuance. The results of this year's analysis are shown here. The amount of tax-supported debt that could be issued is determined at 3 different levels, which includes a poor economy, a normal growth economy, or a thriving economy. The amount was determined not to exceed $18 million in a thriving economy, $14 million in a poor economy, and $16 million being the cap for a normal growth economy. The results show that under each scenario, key ratios stay below policy and our peer group counties for the FY27 bond issuance. As I stated before, the total tax-supported bonds for the FY27 CIP budget are scheduled at $14 million. And I did want to make a note there as well. In our current FY26 budget, we have 14 million also scheduled to be issued. So ordinarily, that's done in the spring, so May, June. However, due to timelines of construction projects, we're going to push that to next year. So there'll be, as of right now, no debt issuance planned for this spring, and then next year, a double debt issuance, basically. So the net effect is the same. And then I just wanted to summarize here as well that if you want to look at further detail of this analysis, it can be found in tab 5 of your binders. There are 2 pages that illustrate some different scenarios and kind of look into the future with some of the projects that we have planned there. That is all that I had here. I just wanted to conclude that's an overview of the draft 1 of the FY27 capital improvement budget. Before I close, I'd like to take a moment and thank our staff for their hard work in preparing their capital request, the CIP committee for their help in developing the recommendations, and budget and finance staff for their hard work in implementing the recommendations and compiling all the necessary budget documents. Does the board have any questions or comments or feedback on today's presentation?
Michelle, do you have anything? Oh, never mind. Go ahead. You're going to add something.
I did want to add one thing. First, I'd like to thank Zane for pinch hitting today for Kelsey. She was unable to attend today's meeting. I also wanted to point out to the commissioners and to our listening public that as part of the budget process, we are only approving funding for fiscal year 27 projects. So even though our plan includes projects for 10 years, that helps us for cash management and debt and management purposes for future boards, the 10-year plan is subject to change and future approval by future boards. So we're only approving the fiscal year 27 budget for project funding. That's everything I have.
Questions, comments?
Zane, thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Zane.
Michelle, our bond counsel approves of all this? They're in concurrence?
For the current fiscal year, yes.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Zane. Good presentation.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Okay, next item under tab 5 is FY 2027 general fund budget requested version.
All right, Zane Garrett, Deputy Director of Budget and Finance. We'll keep this brief here today. We have a brief overview of the general fund requested budget. Requested revenues total $347 million, which is a $23.9 million or 7.4% increase over the FY26 approved budget. Included in your agenda packet is a summary of the requested revenues and the change from the FY26 approved budget. Requested expenditures total $364.5 million, which is a $41.4 million or 12.8% increase over the FY26 approved budget. The shortfall in the requested budget is currently at $17.5 million. A summary of the requested expenditures by department is also included in your agenda packet. On March 17th, we will be presenting in more detail the balanced proposed general fund budget. Are there any questions at this time?
Questions?
It was brief.
So staff will begin meeting later this week and into next week to start balancing and try to make cuts to balance the budget. We need to come up with $17.5 million in expenditure cuts. I just want to make sure that that's very clear to our listeners here.
And we'll review everything in more detail in future presentations. This is just kind of the initial, here's what was requested for your information.
Okay, very good.
Very much.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda under tab 6 is Choice Neighborhood Initiative Implementation Grant Application Letter of Support.
Good morning, Andrew Eshelman, Director of Public Works.
Sean Griffith, Hagerstown Housing Authority. I'm here seeking a motion to approve sending the attached drafted letter of support to the Hagerstown Housing Authority for their Choice Neighborhoods Initiative Implementation Grant application. The Hagerstown Housing Authority and the City of Hagerstown are co-applicants on this upcoming U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Choice Neighborhoods Initiative Implementation Grant. They have requested a letter of support from Washington County that outlines the county's planned capital investments within the grant application boundary. If awarded, the grant would support efforts to create vibrant, thriving, and connected neighborhoods. Within the letter, it focuses on the county's capital investments within the boundary, which two noted projects and investments are renovation of the Martin Luther King Jr. Community Center and planning and design for an expanded transit administration and maintenance facility. And while that facility is outside the boundary, the services and benefits would be provided for residents within the grant application boundary. These investments demonstrate the county's commitment to supporting neighborhood revitalization, community services, and improved transportation access that align with the goals of the Choice Neighborhoods Initiative. So I'm going to turn it over to Sean here to talk a little bit about their efforts. And so again, this has been a multi-year effort. They have received a planning grant and then looking at implementation. So I think while housing is a big component of that, he'll share kind of the holistic view of what this effort entails.
So back in 2023, the Hagerstown Housing Authority in the city of Hagerstown applied for the Choice Neighborhood Planning Grant. It was a $500,000 grant over the course of 2 years to establish a neighborhood transformation plan. Those boundaries are pretty extensive, cover a lot of the downtown area, and really focuses on three core areas: housing, neighborhood, and the people within that community. The plan was submitted to HUD back in October, and it can be found on our website. It's about a 400-page document, so if you have some time, go out there and take a look at it. But we're fortunate now that HUD has put out a notice of funding opportunity for the implementation side of that. And really what it does is allows us the opportunity to apply for up to $26 million. Historically, it was 50. They've reduced it this year to 26 to implement that transformation plan. Again, three core areas: housing. The Hagerstown Housing Authority is looking to redevelop 3 of its public housing sites and infuse mixed income housing into those communities. So the communities that have public housing, we are required to do a 1-for-1 replacement. So if there's a subsidized unit, we need to keep a subsidized unit in that community. But what we're looking to do is also increase the density out there with market rate units and also other affordable non-subsidized units that kind of cap out what those income limits are. Those will remain on the 3 sites that we're proposing: Frederick Manor, Parkside Homes, and we are looking to introduce the Moeller Building into this as a 65-unit residential community with some community space. Douglas Court, which is the existing housing development that we are looking at, is a 30-unit public housing community. We're looking to transform that from 30 units of public housing to 20 units of homeownership. Kind of flipping onto the next component, which is the neighborhood side. There's some key indicators we're looking at within the neighborhood itself, and one of the big ones that I'm really excited about is increasing homeownership, affordable homeownership within those boundaries. So part of the neighborhood piece would be converting the community, Douglas Court, to homeownership, then also looking at other homeownership opportunities within that choice boundary. And the people portion of that really focuses on 3 key areas: educational outcomes, employment, and health within the community. Within the $26 million grant, 15% of that grant is allocated to the people portion, 10% goes to the neighborhood and the surrounding neighborhoods, and the remaining portion that goes towards the housing that we're looking to redevelop and create mixed income communities. So high level, that's kind of the plan.
Questions?
Motion to support the letter.
I just want to confirm that no funding is being asked of the county.
That is correct.
Right.
I did have one question.
Well, I have a motion on the floor. You need to second it or ask me to?
Second.
Second for this, thank you.
Now we can discuss it.
Sean, the Moeller Building, you said 65 units?
That is correct.
What's a footprint of what?
So the Mueller building is kind of a big H shape.
I'm familiar with the
Okay.
building, but the size of each unit.
So they're going to be all 1 and 2 bedroom units. We're keeping them smaller for full accessibility. So they will be smaller units. I'm going to say probably around the 1 bedroom is going to be a little over 600, probably 700 square feet.
Okay.
So they're going to be smaller.
That was my question. And the primary entrance is from?
Right now, we're looking at probably a primary entrance for the residents. There will be around the rear, where the parking is. There will also be access to the front, though.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? Ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Don, thank you. Andrew.
Next item is under tab 7, bid award PUR 1639, on-call stormwater management maintenance task order number 2 for the Department of Stormwater and Watershed Services.
Karen Bickner, buyer in the purchasing department.
John Swalger, Stormwater Management.
The recommendation we have today is bid award PUR 1639, task order number 2. Motion to authorize the Department of Stormwater and Watershed Services to utilize contract PUR 1639 with Patriot Land and Wildlife Management Services Incorporated, doing business as Patriot Natural Resources, for maintenance and repair of various locations based on the hourly rates per the contract totaling $85,014.40. Due to the centralization of stormwater management responsibilities, Stormwater Watershed Services presently manages the maintenance of county-owned stormwater ponds in subdivisions and industrial areas. Currently, there are 3 stormwater ponds with multiple issues needing to be repaired. The location and pricing for work at each stormwater pond is listed in the chart in this ARF. Funding is available in the department's operating budget for this service.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 4-0. Thank you. Next item under tab 8 is bid award PUR 1713, Sharpsburg Water Service Upgrades.
Good morning, Brandy Kentner, Director of Purchasing.
Joe Moss, Deputy Director for Engineering for Water Quality.
The recommendation I have for you this morning is the request to approve additional funds for PUR 1713. On November 26, 2024, the board awarded the contract for the upgrades to the Sharpsburg Water Services to Core and Main for the amount of $257,103.96. This request is for approval for an additional amount of $24,334.60 to complete the upgrade. The additional parts needed to complete the work under this contract are required because initially only interior parts were to be replaced. However, during implementation, it was determined that the replacement parts did not fit in the existing water meter vaults. Funding is available in the capital improvement budget for this additional funding.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second for approval. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item is under tab 10, Stoner Family Farms LLC, Royal Legacy Program, or RLP easement.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Morning, Chris.
Chris Boggs, Rural Preservation Administrator, Department of Planning and Zoning. This morning I bring to you the Stoner Family Farms LLC project for rural legacy easement. It's located on Schaefer Road in Sharpsburg, and it has a very valuable agricultural, scenic, and environmental property in the county. It contains a balanced mix of crop, pasture, and woodland, and lies in a part of the county that was heavily trafficked during the Civil War and the Battle of Antietam. It's within close proximity to several sites on the Maryland Inventory of Historic Places. The parcel itself adds to a block of thousands of acres of contiguously preserved farmland near Antietam Battlefield and Sharpsburg. 7 development rights will be extinguished with the easement. Rural Legacy Program started back in 1998, and since then we've been awarded more than $33 million for the purchase of easements on over 9,800 acres of land near Antietam Battlefield in the Rural Legacy area. Washington County for FY25, this is an FY25 project, was awarded $1.544 million, and this project will use a portion of those funds. Rural Legacy funds are 100% state dollars, mainly from open space funds through DNR. In addition to the easement funding, we receive 3% of the easement value for admin costs, as well as 1.5% for compliance and monitoring costs. And also, the state will use the funding to cover all of our legal and settlement costs associated with the project. Both the Rural Legacy Board and DNR are in approve of our program. So the recommended motion would be to approve the Stoner Family Farms LLC Rural Legacy Project in the amount of $346,725 over 61.3 easement acres. Any questions?
Motion to approve the Stoner Farm easement 346, 725, 61.3 acres.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
4-0. Next item is under tab 11, assessment of local hotel rental tax support for Jamison Door Company. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Commissioners and County Administrator Gordon. Jonathan Horowitz, the Director of the Department of Business and Economic Development. And today with me I have Dwight Clark, CEO and President of Jamison Door Company, and Andrew Serafini, former Maryland State Senator and Delegate serving over 12 years representing our community. Gentlemen, if you'd like to say hello. Hello.
Hello.
Today, I'm here requesting an approval for the Department of Business and Economic Development to enter into an agreement with Jamison Door Company to incentivize the establishment of an expanded manufacturing presence in Washington County. Jamison Door's parent company, BMP, is an international door corporation headquartered in Italy, currently consisting of roughly 24 product lines. A quick reminder for our citizens, the Hotel Rental Tax Fund is an economic development tool used to attract and retain high-impact, quality employers to our community. The HRT program is funded by a tax on short-term overnight stays in Washington County. This fund is created when tourists visit our community. They leave a little funding behind to support our economic and local tourism projects. Jamison Door plans to purchase approximately 55 acres and construct 375,000 square foot manufacturing facility in the Mount Etna Technology Park located between Meredith Medical Center and Hagerstown Community College. Their total investment is estimated to be over $65 million just into this property alone. That includes their land purchase, their building construction, and the purchase of additional manufacturing equipment to centralize manufacturing here in Washington County. My recommendation is to allocate $2 million from the HRT fund over the course of 5 years, beginning in FY25, distributing $400,000 a year to support their effort. This funding would be contingent upon performance requirements, final agreement terms, and the company's acquisition of property at the Mount Etna Technology Park. This project represents the retainment of 105 existing full-time manufacturing jobs and the creation of 100 to 200 additional full-time manufacturing jobs by December 31st of 2029. These are high-quality, long-term manufacturing jobs that will strengthen our local economy and workforce for decades to come. As a condition of this incentive, Jamison Door must purchase the property and construct the facility as proposed. The incentive would be funded through the hotel rental tax revenues, structured as a performance-based agreement tied to the investment and job creation milestones. If this project does not proceed as presented, any hotel rental tax funds distributed would be clawed back to protect our taxpayers. Alternatives include modifying the proposed agreement timeline or denying funds altogether. In summary, this proposal represents a strategic investment in Washington County's economic future. I respectfully request your consensus to approve this recommendation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
So you're just wanting a consensus, no vote, right? Or do you want to vote?
I want to vote.
He needs a
Yeah,
vote.
Motion to approve.
Second, eagerly.
Okay. Motion and second on the floor. Motion as presented. Ready to vote? All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 4-0. Thank you very much.
Gentlemen, any
Commissioners.
comments before you depart?
Please, thank you.
Of course I will, right. So unfortunately, you all don't have a timer like they do in Annapolis. So I am actually here wearing two hats, if it would be. I'm the new president of Chief. Greg Snook is the CEO. Obviously, at the Mountain Etna Technology Park is where this property is going to go. And I'm here as a George Edwards board member. And George Edwards did present Jamison Dorr with a $2 million check last year. And I think County Administrator Gordon would tell you, hey, you know, we don't want to be alone flying in this. And the commitment from the George Group was in conjunction with what you all done. So I'm here wearing those two hats. I want to say thank you to you all. This is a can-do attitude that comes from you as the county commissioners, and you led on this. I've only been involved in two projects that I would say were major in the community, Maryland Theater and this one. In both cases, the county commissioners stepped up early, made a commitment, and followed through, and that made all the difference in the world. So number one, thank you to you all. Thank you to County Administrator Gordon, because I know this was hard, right? We're coming after something that many people covet, but I appreciate your agreement, and the fast tracking really made a difference already, and that means so much because time will be a very important thing to this. I also want to say thank you to your staff. The economic development people have been amazing. I'm going to call them the Northern Avenue All-Stars. We've had multiple meetings with them. Their attitude with us has been, how can we help Jamison Dorr? How can we move them forward? And it's really refreshing, and I appreciate that because we don't always get that at the state level, but here at the county, they were really helpful, very conciliatory, and it was really very good to that. We're going to give a shout out, to Soil Conservation. They have already granted them approval, which was our concern at the time because they're challenged staff-wise and they're under a lot, and we're really thankful for them for that. Finally, I have to say to Dwight Clark, who is a good friend of mine, thank you to Jamison Dorrs, right? We don't like to lose. Let's just say it that way, right? And this has been a burn all of our saddles for a long time, and it started with a conversation with Dwight, and I think I want to leave you with this. We started talking about job retention. We're always after new companies, and that's good. But sometimes in my business, if I could retain clients, that's as good as getting a new one. And when we started, Dwight said, hey, in this world of technology, for me to keep employees when we're bringing machinery that can replace people is going to be the challenge. But if we can build this in and we can grow our business, then we can possibly add more employees. So the idea that the potential for businesses from other parts of the world or other parts of this country are going to come here is what this is about. And you all started it. So thank you to you and your staff, because that's what's made the difference. That's what helped the George Board commit to this, because we knew you guys were serious about helping us. So thank you.
How many years has Jamison Dorr been in our community? 100 what?
Well, on Friday, we're having a little luncheon at the factory at noon, by the way, in celebration of our 120th anniversary.
Very good.
I was actually going to ask that question because I grew up on Bellevue and I got run off there a couple times when I was a kid. Since I knew it was there then.
Last week?
Right. Right.
That was 100 years ago.
120.
120.
One more thing. Go ahead.
And we're just doing lunch because we have so many of these anniversaries that we're going to do something big at the 125th.
One more thing I want to add.
But you're all invited. If you want to stop by and have some barbecue, please stop by.
I want to add, pardon the interruption, I want to add what Senator Serafini had. As a former member of the George Board, along with Jonathan, we had to present this to the Board of County Commissioners before we went to the George Board. And without hesitation, my comrades and colleagues eagerly supported the other $2 million that went to the George Board and to the members of the George Board who recognized, the folks from Allegheny and Geary County recognized how this was just not important to Washington County, but all Western Maryland. So there was a lot of cooperation and encouragement for your business to stay here. So thank you very much.
Yes, we're very pleased, and thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Appreciate it. Next item under tab 12 is the Hagerstown Regional Airport Advisory Commission. Dawn?
Good morning, Commissioners. Dawn Marcus, County Clerk. On behalf of the Hagerstown Regional Airport Advisory Commission, I am requesting a motion to reappoint Austin Colby to serve a second full 3-year term from February 1st of 2026 through January 31st of 2029. This is not a paid board.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 4-0. Thank you. Okay, last item on the open agenda is under tab 13, approval of revisions to Area Agency on Aging Advisory Council.
Thank you, President Barr. Zachary Kiefer, County Attorney. Before you is a request and recommendation for a motion to approve the revised AAAAC bylaws. The Area Agency on Aging Advisory Council is tasked with carrying out advisory functions in furtherance of the Washington County Commission on Aging's mission of developing and coordinating services for older individuals. The proposed revisions align with the new and updated regulations applicable to the Commission on Aging and the Advisory Council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second for approval as submitted. All in favor by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, 4-0. Thank you. Motion to go, I'm sorry.
No, thank you.
Motion to go in closed session for the reasons stated.
Motion. Second.
Motion and second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, 4-0. And let's take a 5-minute recess before we go into close.